Donald Trump's document drama is growing. Intelligence officials now assessing the risks to national security from the classified materials seized from Mar-a-Lago. We'll have the latest on the investigation, including a critical court hearing next week. Plus, Florida. A closer look at the hotly contested races for Senate and governor. And the 25-year-old aiming to be the first Gen Z member of Congress. Plus, the politics of religion and the conservative candidates going to extreme.
The church is supposed to direct the government. The government is not supposed to direct the church. That is not how our founding fathers intended it. And I'm tired of this separation of church and state junk.
We'll have a provocative discussion about faith and government. I'm Michael Steele, in for my friend Jonathan Capehart, and this is The Sunday Show. This Sunday, if Donald Trump isn't supposed to have it, then it's probably at Mar-a-Lago. On Friday, we saw the heavily redacted affidavit explaining why the FBI felt it was necessary to search Trump's Florida home. And now we're learning that the Office of the Director of National Intelligence is conducting a threat assessment, trying to figure out the, quote, potential risk to national security posed by Trump's document hoarding, meaning the intelligence community has to figure out just how badly Trump messed up. Meanwhile, a judge yesterday issued a preliminary ruling for Trump's request to appoint a special master to review the documents the FBI collected. From Mar-a-Lago, she said, as, quote, preliminary intent to grant the request. The hearing is scheduled for Thursday. Remember, the affidavit shows that the FBI discovered 184 classified documents back in January, including 25 that were marked as top secret. Trump is reacting to the affidavit release about as well as you'd expect. He's been posting on his social media platform, calling this, you guessed it, a witch hunt. Joining me now is an all-star duo, Glenn Kirshner, host of the Justice Matters podcast, former federal prosecutor and an MSNBC legal analyst, and Cynthia Oxney. She's also a former prosecutor and an MSNBC legal analyst as well. Welcome to you both. Cynthia, let's start with you. This is a two-parter for you. What do you make, first off, of the intelligence community now having to conduct a review to identify potential national security risks, number one? Start with that.
Well, I think it's very important that they do that now, and they do it in this quiet time before the election. I feel like we need to get all the information to them. They probably have it by now. That's why this hearing is so ridiculous, because they already have all the information. They do the analysis. Everything can quiet down for a while before the election, and we can focus on row your vote through the election. And then some point after the election, when the Justice Department will begin to file more, we can deal with what is going to be the fallout for Trump hoarding all these highly classified documents.
And so the second part of that is, what do you make of this special master approach that the Trump team is taking, and apparently the judge's willingness to do that?
I would call it pandering. I think that's the legal term for this from the judge. I do not think there will be a special master. He's requested a special master, it seems like basically because Rudy got one, in the attorney-client case. This isn't an attorney-client privilege case. They've cited the wrong statutes as they're trying to appoint the special master. There is no special master in executive privilege cases and in the Presidential Records Act and executive privilege cases. Those must be filed in D.C. This is filed in Florida, so it's in the wrong jurisdiction. And there is no special master for classified information cases. So I think it's only a matter of time when the pandering ends by the Trump judge that there will not be a special master and that this is a delay tactic.
Glenn, what about you? What are your thoughts as well? From understanding, there's a lot of shock going around about this special master. Do you think it was odd for the judge to make up her mind so quickly?
Odd, I think, is an understatement, Michael, and I like that Cynthia characterizes it as a federal judge pandering to one of the parties in the case before her. I think pandering might be too nice a characterization. I went back and looked at Judge Aileen Cannon's order, and here's what she said. And before I read this one sentence, Michael, mind you, she entered this tentative order before the Department of Justice prosecutors even had an opportunity to weigh in on the issue. She said, quote, "The court hereby provides notice of its preliminary intent to appoint a special master in this case." And she's only heard from Trump's defense team. I have to tell you, I searched my memory for my 30 years as a federal prosecutor, trying to recall if I ever had a judge announce a ruling, even a tentative ruling, before one party even had its say. I've never seen that. So I think this indicates a judge who has extraordinarily poor judgment at best, and at worst is biased in favor of Donald Trump. And as a footnote, I think it's worth mentioning that she was confirmed by the Senate, Mitch McConnell's Senate, after Donald Trump lost the presidential election.
So I want to follow with you, Glenn, about this idea of obstruction. The New York Times had a headline reading, "Possibility of obstruction looms over Trump." Do you agree that that's a bigger issue than we may realize?
Oh, I think it's more than just a possibility. I think it's a likelihood. The reason that's such an important criminal charge, that the FBI agent who drafted the affidavit in support of the Mar-a-Lago search warrant included in what they are criminally investigating, is because it doesn't matter the nature of the documents. They could be classified. They could have been magically declassified by Donald Trump. Not really, but that's what he's claiming. They could be confidential, secret, top secret, SCI, special access program. They could be whatever. And the fact that Trump and company secreted them, concealed them, and refused to produce them even after being subpoenaed for them is what makes this obstruction of justice, regardless of the classification of those documents.
Cynthia, you had an interesting tweet the other day. This was before the redacted affidavit was released. You said you were hoping that the judge would not release the affidavit. Why did you feel that way? And has your feelings about that changed since the release?
Well, I was hoping not, because I don't think affidavits should be released before a prosecution begins, because I think it should everything should be the same for everybody, right? Now, I recognize that he had to come up with some compromise because of the national interest in this case. But quite frankly, all the good stuff is redacted anyway.
Right.
I mean, it's like 20. I wanted to print it out. I'm like, I'm not going to print it out. I don't have that much ink. Right. It's all black, 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 black. So all we got was confirmation of the New York Times, Washington Post, TikTok of what happened. So I'm not upset about it, but as a general rule, I don't think we should do it. Let me just say, I think Glenn is completely right. The information that was all black, 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 black out is the obstruction. It's the heart and soul of this investigation. And the decision on prosecution ultimately be based, in my opinion, on the obstruction and on if there is national security damage, that assessment which is being undergoing right now. So, Glenn.